Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to pull out the key insights, the real nuggets of knowledge from your sources, giving you that shortcut to being genuinely well-informed. In this super connected world we live in, being able to communicate well, it's not just nice anymore, is it? It's absolutely vital. And when you look globally, well, one language really does stand out. So today, we're diving into the, honestly, pretty fascinating story of English and its rise as the dominant global language. Our goal here isn't just to say English is important, you probably know that. It's to dig into why. Why, according to the sources you shared, it's become so fundamental for, well, success in almost every field. And yeah, this goes way beyond just ordering coffee on holiday or, understanding pop songs.
It really does. What jumps out from the material is how consistently English is framed as the global language. Its role is central in international communication, sure, but also education, tech, business, even entertainment. The research really hammers home that learning it has shifted. It's not a luxury anymore. It's presented as a basic need for, well, students, people looking for jobs, entrepreneurs.
Okay, let's unpack that phrase global language. We hear it all the time. But according to these sources, what actually gives English this kind of pervasive power? Because beyond the label, the actual reach, the numbers, they're pretty eye-opening when you look closely.
Yeah, what's really interesting is, it might not have the most native speakers, that's often Mandarin or Spanish, but the material you provided makes it crystal clear. English is, hands down, the most widely spoken second language globally. That makes it the go-to for international communication. And the stats are, well, quite something. Over 1.5 billion people speaking it at a useful level. And the sources are pretty specific that useful level usually means something like functional proficiency, like a B2 level, if you know the CEFR scale. Enough to work or study effectively or, travel independently without major issues. Plus, it's official or primary in, over 70 countries. That's significant.
That footprint is just huge, isn't it? It really drives home this idea of English acting as a bridge. The sources actually mention places like Bangladesh, India, China, Brazil, examples where it's the language connecting people who speak different native tongues. It's painted as like the ticket to joining the global conversation.
Exactly. And that brings up a key question, doesn't it? How does one language get so deeply embedded in, well, so many parts of modern life? How does it become this indispensable tool? The sources do a good job laying out its influence across these critical areas. We're set up nicely to explore them, education, careers, tech, travel, culture, even personal growth.
Right. So get ready, because this deep dive, well, it's really about uncovering those layers of opportunity that knowing English can actually unlock for you. So we've established this incredible global reach. Now let's zero in on its role in something foundational, education. What did the sources show there?
Well, the research is pretty blunt about it. English dominates academia. Simple as that. Something like over 90% of peer-reviewed academic articles, international science journals, they're published in English. So if you're a student, a researcher, being proficient isn't just helpful. It's basically essential to access the latest knowledge. And beyond journals, think about top universities worldwide. Many run courses entirely in English. They pull in students from all over, needing that common language.
That's a massive gateway then. If you're a student, fluency means you're not stuck with just local stuff. You can tap into this global library of information and opportunity. All those online courses, the MOOCs, they're mostly in English too, right? It kind of levels the playing field for knowledge access. Okay, moving from, say, the lecture hall to the boardroom. How does this dominance play out in careers in the business world? The sources hinted at some big advantages.
Oh, absolutely. The insights there are very direct. English is pretty much the lingua franca of global business. Full stop. Multinational companies, international deals, teams working across cultures, they tend to operate in English. The material even suggested that for non-native speakers, especially in developing economies, knowing English often links to a significant pay bump that's often overlooked. And for entrepreneurs, it opens doors to global markets, international investors, people you just couldn't reach otherwise. Imagine a startup in Brazil you mentioned. Getting international funding could literally depend on how well they communicate in English.
Right. So it's not just about getting a job. It's about expanding the whole arena for your career, for your business. It puts you in a position to, well, compete and collaborate globally. Yeah. And what about tech and innovation? The sources mentioned the internet itself kind of grew up speaking English. How's that legacy playing out today?
Yeah, that's fascinating. The material shows English became the sort of default language for coding, for open source projects. It wasn't just because it was there early, but maybe also its relatively flexible syntax made it accessible. Most programming languages, their documentation, it's all English-based. So if you want to contribute to global innovation or figure out complex tech problems or just be part of those fast-moving online tech discussions, English is your main tool. It's interesting. It's not just using English to talk about tech. It's how English has actually, shaped the development of digital communication, even AI.
Wow, that's quite a thought. So it's almost woven into the fabric of how tech works and evolves, which means accessing, even influencing the cutting edge is much more doable for anyone, anywhere with English skills. Okay, stepping outside the professional world for a moment, how does English shape our experiences with travel and global culture based on these sources?
Well, the sources really highlight its role as the universal travel language, the go-to lingua franca for tourists. Whether you're trying to navigate an airport in, say, Tokyo or ask for directions in Rome, English is often your most reliable bet. And culturally, it's a huge channel. Think about international films, popular music, best-selling books. Even if originally in another language, they often reach a global audience via English translation or adaptation. This allows for a much richer cultural exchange. People can directly engage with global trends, media, different viewpoints. It fosters a deeper understanding potentially.
It's like getting a backstage pass, isn't it, to the world's cultural stage.
Yeah.
And being able to actually connect with people from really different backgrounds when you travel. Yeah, that sounds like a pretty powerful way to broaden your horizons.
Oh.
And lastly, the sources touched on something maybe less obvious, but quite profound. This idea that knowing English actually fosters personal growth. What did you find there?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. The research suggests learning English isn't just about, external stuff like jobs or travel. It seems to have direct cognitive benefits. Studies mentioned in the material suggest it can actually improve memory, critical thinking, problem-solving skills. People who speak multiple languages often demonstrate apparently higher cognitive flexibility, better at multitasking, and it just gives you new perspectives, right? You're engaging with ideas, with content, maybe not available in your first language, that can lead to better mental discipline, a wider worldview.
Like, also put a workout for your brain then.
Exactly, a mental workout.
It really reframes learning a language, not just a task, but a tool for improving yourself and understanding more.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's really clear, isn't it? English is way more than just, vocabulary and grammar. The sources you shared consistently drive home this core idea. English is quite literally presented as a life skill.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is how it's consistently portrayed as this bridge, connecting people, yes, but also knowledge, different cultures, opportunities all across the globe. It really underscores how it's seen as the key, perhaps, to unlocking success in the 21st century. And that's across almost everything: study, work, travel, even, as we just discussed, personal development.
Right, and reinforcing that, one of the really powerful takeaways from the sources was that learning English is pitched as one of the most valuable investments you can make. It's not just about what it lets you do, but maybe how it changes you.
Precisely. Those personal growth aspects are significant. The research points to potentially improving memory, critical thinking, problem solving. It inherently offers new perspectives, helps build, mental discipline just by grappling with a different linguistic system.
So thinking about what this all means for you, listening, it suggests that every word you learn, every concept you grasp in English, it's a step towards, well, a potentially brighter, broader, and maybe more successful future. That's the strong implication from our sources.
And reflecting on all this, it does raise a pretty big question for the future, doesn't it? In a world that's striving, or at least talking about striving, for more connection and understanding, how might this continued global spread of English actually reshape things? Not just communication norms, but maybe even how diverse cultural identities evolve over, say, the next decade.
Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. A lot to ponder there. We hope you'll reflect on that, maybe explore some of these ideas further yourself. It's all part of that journey, right, of staying well informed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.